Hi, I'm Amy and this is A Star Reads, and it is time to pick my April TBR with The Game of a Bookish Life. And spoiler alert, it does not go well. Which is really sad because I'm starting school this month and it's gonna be great, but I'm taking 16 units because that's what's required. So it's going to be a busy month. I was thinking maybe I should lower the number of spins I do, but I was like, nah, I don't give myself penalties. Let's just see what I get. And then it went from there. So before I get into my spins, let me give you a bit of an update on what happened in March. It also did not go so well. March was not my best reading month. I felt like I had all this energy and all this excitement in February, and that went beautifully. And then March hit and it hasn't been going great. I still have like 9 or 10 days left in the month, so there's still time to read, but I'm not going to get nearly as much done as I wanted to, especially books that are on my TBR. So let's just go through the spins that I had for last month. The first one was adult horror thriller mystery book I own, and that was The Vines, which was an e-arc that I needed to read. And I have started that. I'm about a third of the way through. It's been going a little slow for me. I like parts of it and there's other parts that I'm not crazy about, so I haven't been pushing forward as fast on that as I would like, but I really hope to get that finished by the end of this month. The second spin, which was adult fiction I own, I chose The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, and I've been excited to read this one. I bought it at the end of the last year. It keeps not happening, and it didn't happen in March. I'm actually going to put it back on my shelf because it's not going to happen. I really, really want to read this book, and I don't want to rush through it in the sense that I don't want to feel like I'm trying to get books done. And so I'm going to wait on this one, but it will happen. Spin number 3 was also adult fiction, and it was a book that you guys picked. And once I tallied up all the scores from all of your votes, the book that came out, it was a pretty clear winner, was The Guernsey Literary Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows, and I have not yet started this. But it is a very short book, and it has a lot of like letters in it, so I'm going to make this one work. And spin number 4 was YA Fantasy book that is least anticipated on my TBR. And for this I chose Children of Virtue and Vengeance because I had heard such mixed reviews on the second book. You know, Children of Blood and Bone was one of my 5-star reads in 2020, and a lot of people loved that one, but they didn't love the second book. I was a little hesitant about it at first, but I listened to it on audiobook and I loved it. So I did finish that one. Spin number 5, adult horror thriller mystery friend pick. And this is the one that I had my friend Bryson pick a book for me, and he picked Headhunter by Michael Slade, which is a serial killer story. I've started it. I'm about 84 pages in. This is one of those books that is going to take me a little time because there are so many jumps in perspective and so many different perspectives, and then there's timestamps everywhere, and it's very complicated, and so I'm having a hard time getting into the groove. There was one section where I was able to really get into it, but it was because it was a longer section of this one point of view, whereas a lot of it's just like paragraphs of different points of view and different people's perspectives. And so I know that the intention is to bring all these different elements together eventually so you get the full story, but I'm having a hard time. It's slow going. So I'm not trying to rush this one so much, and I know Bryson's rereading it, and so he's kind of busy with other things, so like we're not really buddy reading, but it's fun to chat with people about books to read, so I'm sure that we can have a bit of a discussion on this, and he's not going very fast on it either, so I don't feel rushed. So as far as the books that I'm currently in the middle of, currently reading, I'm still working on Jane Austen The Secret Radical. I haven't made any progress in this, but I'm using it to supplement my Jane Austen reading, which hasn't gone anywhere this month, but I'm still working on that one. And then I'm also a little over halfway through a semi-definitive list of worst nightmares, which was the group book for the Spring Into Readathon, and I ended up picking this book for one of my prompts for the 48-hour Bookathon, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a YA contemporary. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this one. Also, I only have 9 hours left of The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. I wanted to get it finished this month, and I still have, like I said, about 9-10 days left in the month, so I'm hoping that I can still make some good progress, but I was really excited that I did make progress this month, and that one is gonna get done next month. I will finish The Year of the Witching, my 1,200 plus page audiobook. The books I will be carrying over from last month's TBR are again, Pride and Prejudice, because I will read that at some point. I'm going to still continue to try to read Sense and Sensibility, and I have not even, sorry Chelle, which she's not surprised, but I have not even started Assassin's Quest, and yeah. I'm so excited about reading this one. In fact, the last couple of days I was like, oh, I really want to pick that up. And I'm just trying to get through some other things first. But this is pushing us back. Okay, so let's take a look at the tallies. As you can see, things are looking pretty good, except for in that number 1 spot. If I roll a 1, there's a good chance I will be adding a book to my TBR. So keep your fingers crossed. All right, let's look at spin number 1. Okay, so I'm starting out here on the book card. And, oh, I didn't mention last time, but orange is my favorite color, and I had the orange car, but somehow my little orange car went missing. I'm betting my cat batted it off the table, and then the dog ate it. Because Cece likes to chew on plastic. Now I have to use this little yellow car, which is fine. Okay, spin number 1. Seriously. Okay, we're adding a spin, and at least the first one is a middle grade. I guess that's all right. Okay, so that's middle grade, my choice. Hey, I like this. Okay, that's fine. You know what? That's okay. At least it gave me a little bit of a break. Well, we knew that was gonna happen, didn't we? The first one I've chosen is Reaching for the Moon, the autobiography of NASA mathematician Katherine Johnson by Katherine Johnson. This is the story based off Katherine Johnson's life. She was one of the first Black female mathematicians hired by NASA, and these women were hired by NASA to do basic calculation, not basic, I mean these are difficult calculations, but she was able to help plan the first trajectory to the moon for the first moonwalk. So she did great things. The movie The Hidden Figures is about her and some of the other women that were part of the team of women mathematicians. So I'm really excited about this one, and it shouldn't be too difficult of a read because it's middle grade. I haven't read too many middle grade nonfiction, so this should be a fun one. Spin number 2. 9, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Book card. I just land on all the book cards. So this is YA fantasy. Let's see what our book card is. This one. Family pick. Okay. So the book card was family pick, which ended up being perfect because I had someone in mind for this one. And I'm really excited to introduce you to my lovely cousin, Jordan.
Hi everyone, my name's Jordan and I'm Amy's favorite cousin. I get to choose what she reads and I am gonna choose my favorite book. It's called The Golden Compass. It's part of a trilogy called His Dark Materials. So I'm sure if she reads one, she'll wanna read them all. Enjoy, Ames, let me know what you think.
So I actually was hoping that Jordan would pick The Golden Compass because she's been telling me over and over and over again how much I should read this, and she loves it, and I've been wanting to read it. So I'm finally gonna get to it. The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman, and this is a book about a young girl named Lyra who goes to the north, and it's like this magical north. I don't know what happens, but I know that there's witches up there, there's like bears that wear armor, and there's these gobblers that steal children or something along those lines. And she's up there to help save her friend Roger. And while she's up there, she's trying to help her uncle Azrael, who is trying to make a bridge to this other world. And there is something conflicting about her trying to help save Roger and her trying to help her uncle. And I don't know yet what it is, but I'm going to find out. And so I'm really excited because these are pretty easy books. YA fantasy, middle grade. Things are looking good so far. Spin number 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. Goodreads winner. And this is adult fiction. Oh, that should be really easy. All right, so I'm actually really excited about this one. I got adult fiction, Goodreads winner, and I've been kind of wanting to read some of the winners from Goodreads and just see what the general population is enjoying reading. So I was looking through all the different years and looking at the adult fiction as well as historical fiction because I've sort of umbrellaed historical fiction under the adult fiction category. And I actually found one that I own that I've never read, I don't remember buying it, but I have it. It's The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. I'm excited because it's nice and short. It was a 2012 winner of the historical fiction category. And this is a book that's set in Australia post-World War I, so it's like in the 1920s. And it's about a man named Tom Sherborne, and he takes the position of running a lighthouse on this really secluded island. And he brings his wife, his young wife, and they're madly in love. Things are going great, except they keep having miscarriages. And so all of a sudden, this boat shows up on the shore of this isolated island, and there's a dead man in it, as well as an infant. And of course, Tom is kind of like, well, I have to report this, but the wife takes the baby and immediately is like, I want this baby. Tom is really conflicted about this, but he wants his wife to be happy. So this is kind of the story of where it goes from there and how this decision could affect their future. Spin number 4. This is going pretty well, even though I have to add an extra book. 9 again. YA fantasy. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Another book card. Are you serious? For YA fantasy again. What the heck is this? Okay. Let's find out who's choosing for me. Oh. Oh no. No. All my friends. I'm losing all my friends. Disaster. Disaster. I'm having a bit of a rough day, so I was figuring I would do this to kind of make up for this rough day and showing that it's just carrying over. Okay, let's try that again. I think I got all of them. This one. Mom pick. Okay, another family member. This is all about the family. Mom pick YA fantasy. Oh, I wonder if she'll pick the one I want her to pick. All right, so as you saw there, I'm starting to get a bit suspicious because I don't know if there's something wrong with my spinner, but there might be. I'm gonna have to check that out. The next book, spin number 4, is a YA fantasy, and this one was a mom pick.
I picked the Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. I'm gonna read this during Becca's 48-hour bookathon. And
Bookoplathon!
I'm gonna read this during Becca's 48-hour booklockathon. Bookopathon. Book thing. And I want Amy to read this too. And I know she's excited because we both heard about this and are so excited about the book. Thanks.
My poor mom. So this is the start of the Deathless series. It's about a girl named Decca who's 16 years old. And she lives in this community where once girls get to a certain age, they have a blood ceremony and they get cut. And if their blood runs red, then they just get to live a nice normal life. If their blood runs gold, then they're considered to be a demon and they're basically supposed to be executed. They're supposed to be killed because you can't have demons in this town, I guess. I'm not sure, but it sounds interesting and it's been getting a lot of love lately, so I'm really excited. Spin number 5, what would normally be the last spin. 10. I might have to implement a rule when it comes to these line splitting. I'm gonna spin to see if I am gonna go this way to the left or this way to the right. So what I'll do is if I spin 1 through 5, then I will go this direction. If I spin 6 through 10, then I will go this direction. So let's see which way I'm going. 6. So I'm going this direction. So that is, if we start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A book from a mini library. And that was a YA other. All right, this is the month of YA. What can I say? I guess I'm just going to be reading YA books this month. And that's kind of fine because YA books are easier to read. They just are. They're easier to read. It's going to be a rough month, so that's okay. So I went to a mini library to pick, I picked like 3 books, and 2 of them were YA, one of them was questionable and ended up not really being YA. And I ended up going with What Girls Learn by Karin Cook. Actually, it worked out because Mom read all 3 of those books within the first couple of days that we got them, and she was telling me about them, and this is the one that sounds like I'll probably be most interested in it. And this is a coming-age story about a girl named Tilden and her sister Elizabeth. Tilden is 12 years old, And they're kind of like exploring their adolescence and sexuality and different things, but then they're also moving around with their mother. And something really tragic comes up. I think their mother ends up getting diagnosed with cancer. So it's these really young girls going through adolescence and puberty and all these different things, but then also dealing with grief. And so this is an interesting coming of age story. I seem to like coming of age stories. I find that I read them quite a bit, and I am looking forward to reading this. It's not well known. It doesn't have a ton of reviews, and I don't really know what to make of it. Someone gave this to her sister for a 35th wedding anniversary, and I thought that was really cute. Congratulations, Sarah, on your wedding anniversary, and I guess she read the book and was ready to give it a new home. Spin number 6. Are you serious? That gives me another spin. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I get to buy a YA fantasy new release for myself, so at least that's some consolation. Well, you know, there's something wrong with my spinner. I swear there must be, because that 9 just keeps coming up. YA fantasy, YA fantasy, YA fantasy. Let's hope I like YA fantasies as much as I have to, because that's all I'll be reading till the end of time. So this is YA fantasy by a brand new release. But I was actually really excited about this one because there is one YA fantasy that's been on my radar since it came out, and it came out in November 2020. So it's still kind of new. It hasn't quite hit the 6-month mark, but it's still new. And I'm still counting it as a new release. And that is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling about these two gangs that are constantly warring with each other, and the two leaders of the gangs, I think, were in a relationship at some point, but then that didn't work out, obviously, because they're in warring gangs. This is set in 1920s Shanghai, and something happens. There's some kind of disease that is starting to kill off different members of these gangs. These two gangs actually have to work together to try and stop whatever this is, which is completely against what they would normally do. So it's an interesting idea that they're going to have to overcome their hatred for each other and try to work through this problem that they're facing that could completely annihilate all of them. I ended up buying this through Crate because they had some leftover boxes from November, and I was interested in reading this one, so I was like, maybe I should get the Crate box. And I did, and it was wonderful. And it was signed by Chloe Gong, as all of the Crate books are. They're all signed by the authors. Oh, I gotta show you this. So you get the little card from the authors from Crate. And this is the sleeve on the inside. Beautiful. So that's the two leaders of these different gangs. And I just thought this was so pretty. I certainly shouldn't be adding long books to my TBR for April, but it's still a YA fantasy, so I'm hoping it will go fairly quickly. So, spin number 7. Seriously? Maybe it's diversity. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, it is not. Book with a competition or a race, which is YA fantasy. All right, that was it. That was the last spin. I knew this was going to happen. We all knew it was going to happen, didn't we? Of course we did. But like I said, the spinner's broken. We landed on YA fantasy yet again. And the prompt is a book with a competition or a race. So I actually picked another book off my shelf. So I feel good. I'm starting to get some of the books off my shelf read. And I chose The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I've heard such mixed things about Erin Morgenstern's writing in general. Some people love it, some people hate it. And I'm really excited to read it. What I've heard is this is very atmospheric, and I really like atmospheric books. I like books that focus on the setting and the scene, especially when it's like made to be beautiful and whimsical and stuff. And this one is supposed to be very whimsical. So this is about a circus, the Cirque de Rêve, which just shows up randomly at nighttime. And you never know when it's gonna come. You don't know where it's gonna be. It just shows up. It's this fantastical, magical circus. And the reason a competition comes in is that 2 of the magicians from this circus are competing in this magic duel to see who's the best magician. And what they don't know, the 2 that are competing, is that whoever wins will be the only survivor. Apparently, the loser has to die. And of course, as you can imagine, because they're competing, they fall in love. They have to, right? But this one is a long book. It's over 500 pages. So it's, again, YA. so hopefully not too long of a read, but I have been waiting to read this one for a while, and I can't wait to make my own decisions about Erin Morgenstern and decide whether or not I enjoy her writing. All right, so luckily for my buddy reads in the next month, there's nothing too crazy going on. I am still trying to read Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb to buddy read with Chelle, and then with the Live Ship Traders series that's coming up after that, starting with Ship of Magic with Robin Hobb, I am buddy reading this with Chelle and Magda. She'll be joining us. And Magda, I didn't warn you, but this is not gonna be finished by the end of April. It'll probably be finished by the end of May. Chelle says I have to have it finished by the end of May. I'll try. The Live Ship Traders is the reason why I wanted to start this whole Robin Hobb series, because I like books about boats. And this series sounded really interesting to me because it's about these ships that are called the live ships because they're owned by the same family for generations. And after 3 generations of the same family line dies on the boat, if I remember correctly, the ship becomes alive. And I don't know what that means, but I'm totally excited about it. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty frightening. But those are my buddy reads for the next couple of months is what they are. So for Down Memory Jane, I still, as you know, need to read Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and I'm continuing to work on The Secret Radical, which I'm supplementing all my Jane Austen reading with. But the book that is actually the April book for Down Memory Jane Readalong is Aisha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin. And this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling about this Muslim family in Toronto. And so it's about this young girl named Aisha, and she sort of like meets this guy named Khalid, and she's like, he's cute and all, but he's kind of full of himself and very conservative, and she's not very sure about him. But there's an attraction there. And I think it goes both ways. But then she finds out that Khalid is betrothed to her cousin, or like there's an arranged marriage. And she's pretty against the idea of this, but I'm curious to see where this goes and exactly how it follows along with the story of Pride and Prejudice, because it sounds a little different, but it should be a nice, interesting take. I feel like I've been reading a lot of Pride and Prejudice retellings lately, and not actually Pride and Prejudice. But I'm excited about this one, and it's another YA. It should be a nice, quick, short read. And all the information you will need for the Down Memory Jane read-along, if you'd like to know more about that, is in the description box below. I will link the announcement video as well as Discord channel, and it's kind of a fun place where we're just chatting a little bit about the books. It hasn't been too active, but I'm hoping that they're going to be having a live show soon, so we can kind of catch up on where everybody is in all the books. I'm really curious to see what people actually think of all these, so I'm looking forward to that. So then the only other challenge slash book club things I'm doing this month are the Buzzwordathon and the X Books. Wow, I can't say that. And the X Book Club. And I'm going to link all the information for the Buzzwordathon in the description box below, and the X Book Club, I'll link that in the information box below as well. It's being hosted by Kim from Expedition Through Pages and Hannah from Handpick Blog. I have been following Kim for a little while, and I saw her announcement video for this book club. I think this is going to be their 3rd round, and I'm really excited about it. So the way that this book club works is that these are nonfiction books, and they pick one book that was written by an expert in the field. Then they pick a second book that is a book based off someone's experience. And, you know, she was saying that it's true that a lot of people who have a lot of experience in whatever this theme is tend to be experts in their own right. But the intention is to have someone with more of a scientific perspective, or like a academic perspective, and then someone who has actually lived that experience. So this month's theme is space, which actually works really well with Buzzwordathon, because the theme for Buzzwordathon is terms that have space or galaxy in them. The first one is the book for experience, someone who is experienced in space, and that is Reaching for the Moon by Katherine Johnson, which has the word moon in it, which works for Buzzwordathon. And I told you about this already. This was the middle grade book that was my choice. And then the second book for the book club, which is the expert point of view, is The Planet Factory, Exoplanets and the Search for a Second Earth by Elizabeth Tasker. And that has planet, exoplanets, and Earth, which all fulfill the Buzzwordathon prompt. And this is a book that discusses the search for planets outside of our solar system that surround other stars. Where you can find them, how you can find them. Is it possible to find another planet that's similar to Earth, where it has life like ours, and what these other planets might look like, be like. So this should be interesting, because this is a conversation by Elizabeth Tasker, who does the science where she's searching for these exoplanets. And I'm interested to find out more about this. I'm not reading other nonfiction books this month. My nonfiction book club is sort of skipping a month because our next book is pretty long. And so this is my nonfiction for the month. And it's not a very long book, so it shouldn't be too difficult considering this month. But it's on a subject that I'm interested in. And this last month I read Einstein's Cosmos by Michio Kaku. I haven't read any real popular science nonfictions in a while, and it felt so good getting back into this. So I'm really excited about reading The Planet Factory. So that's it. That's about 9 plus or minus 1, 2, 3. How many I'm carrying over? I'm not going to be concerned about it. I'm going to just read and try and get through as many of these as I possibly can. So stick around if you'd like to see Magda's spins. They'll be coming up next, and it should be very interesting. Some strange stuff comes up. If you like this video, click the like button and subscribe right now if you like my content. I obviously have these TBR games and they're a lot of fun, but I do like to do other videos like reviews, vlogs, wrap-ups. I have a lot of different things available on my channel for you to check out, and I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. So when we left Magda off, she was on translated book, and let's see, where is she vulnerable? She's only vulnerable if we roll a 9 or a 7, and the way the 9 has been rolling today, she might be vulnerable there, because it certainly was a problematic number for me. Okay, so at this point we only have 5 rolls for Magda. At this point though, don't get too excited. Okay, here we go. Roll number 1. Maybe this is broken, or maybe I'm broken. I might be broken. Maybe I need a new spinner. All right, Magda, if you get one more 9, then we're adding a roll for you. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My choice, though. It's my choice YA fantasy. Spin number 2. Maybe if I spin the other direction. Whoo, that was close. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a book inspired by a random song, and it is African rep. Whoa, that is gonna be hard. You know, it's not my TBR. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. Sorry, Magda. Oh, I needed that today, though. Thank you. You can tell I feel really bad here, right? Okay, so I want to help Magda out with this because this was a very tricky prompt, I thought. And she's been getting the shit end of the stick, I feel, with these with these spins the last few months. So first I want to give a shout out. I want to shout out to a great South African booktuber that I've been following for a while now. I really like her channel. And her name is Tsuafatso with A Time to Share Books. She does a fantastic job giving book reviews. She does a lot of one-off book reviews. And then she has collections of different like female authors or South African authors. She's a really great resource if you want to look for not just South African authors, but a lot of different African authors from different countries. She has a pretty wide variety of books that she reads, but it looks like she reads a little more literary fiction. I think she does a great job with recommendations, and I think you should check her out. So go ahead and check out A Time to Share Books. I will link all her information in the description box below. Here is an option, Magda. You can do whatever else you want, but this is something I did some research on so that I could help you out. And these are all books that have an audiobook. I don't know if they have audiobooks in the program you use, but I know that there are audiobooks possible. So for the song that I picked, because I randomly went through my Spotify and picked a song, and I don't want to hear it about my horrible music taste. I don't want to hear it. I'm not a sophisticated music listener. I'm someone who loves to dance and sing, and that'll tell you a lot about the kind of music I listen to. And so when I randomly shuffled through one of my playlists on Spotify, I came up with Madness by Muse. And so I actually have 2 suggestions for this, Magda. The first one is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyenkan Braithwaite. This one is about a girl who, she's a normal girl, but her sister is a serial killer. And every time she has problems in her relationship, the serial killer, she kills her boyfriend or what have you, the sister has to come in and kind of help her clean up these deaths. She doesn't want to help her sister in her serial killer practices, but she also doesn't want to see her sister going to prison because she loves her so much. I feel like there's a certain level of madness you have to help your serial killer sister get rid of the bodies. So this was a perfect suggestion. And this one is a book that has been talked about quite a bit on BookTube recently. So I recommend that one. Or there's a book called Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. And this is a book about polygamy. It's actually about this young couple who get married and they live in a culture where polygamy is pretty accepted, but they don't want to live a life of polygamy. They want to just be the two of them. They love each other. They don't want to have to add anybody into their lives. But the wife is having problems conceiving. She has not been successful conceiving at all. And all of a sudden her family shows up to their house with her husband's new second wife. They basically come up and bring this young girl who they say, this is your second wife now, because they want this couple to have a child. And she has to deal with all the jealousy and the anger and the frustration that comes along with this because they didn't want to live this lifestyle. And so I feel like there is a lot of madness that'll go on when you have to think about that. That seems very stressful. So those are my two suggestions. They both have audiobooks, and hopefully that's helpful, Magda. Of course, you can definitely scrap these ideas and go for other options, but I figured I'd be a little nice and give you a little help. Spin number 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. Random number generator of number of pages. Okay. And that is adult fiction, so that should be pretty simple. Okay, so this next one requires a random number generator for the number of pages in the book, but Magda listens to audiobooks. So what I figured was, I was gonna pick this for you, Magda, so you don't have a choice. Well, obviously you're not gonna have a choice anyways, it's a random number generator, but I figured I would do this for you. And so we're gonna go from 2 hours to 50 hours, and I figure 50 hours is a lot. But Magda listens only to audiobooks, and she does get through a lot of books a month, so I know what she can handle. And so we went with 2 to 50, and let's see how that goes. All right, so Magda has to pick an adult fiction that has 43 listening hours, which I know it seems like a lot, but I think Magda can handle it. Spin number 4. Oh, no, I'll try that one again. That's a better spin. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Respin and move backwards. Oh, that's getting us further away from our goal. Okay, sorry, Magda, this one doesn't count. 5 would have been nice, though. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the same. I swear. Oh, this is so rough. Oh, Magda. You're probably going to want to stop playing this game after this round. I thought my day was going rough. Okay. Well, for book number 4, it's African Rep. Book inspired by a random song. Okay. I swear, I'm not doing this. I don't know how that happened. That was pretty incredible. We're not rolling 9s again, though. So, and my dog's going crazy. Okay, so I randomly generated another song from my Spotify playlist, and that is Run Around by Blues Traveler. So this one, I actually have 2 options that I think Magda will be fine with, because both of these are on her TBR, and they both have great audiobooks. And the first one is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So this actually has a blue cover, which works for Blues Traveler. And Trevor absolutely, as a child, as a young man, ran around all of Johannesburg because he was trying to fit in with different groups, and he hated his neighborhoods. He was always running around to different neighborhoods with different friends. So that one I think works well. And the second one is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and I know that Magda's been wanting to read this one. And so the reason I picked this one is because Zele, Amari, and Zane throughout the whole book are running around the whole of Orisha trying to save magic. So this one absolutely works for Run Around. So either of those 2 options, or whatever choices you want to make, Magda, go ahead, let us know what you decide. I'm excited to hear what you chose for these. Spin number 5. Let's go, which direction? We'll go this direction. 1. you need to pick a middle grade that was published before the year 2000. That shouldn't be too difficult at all. So those were Magda's spins, and I have to say, it's been kind of a rough day. So like I was thinking, oh, this will be fun. Let me film my spins to kind of make me feel like, oh, this is, you know, things will be better. And the board reflected how rough the day has been. And I'm sorry that rubbed off on your spins, Magda. I really apologize. I'm really curious to see what you're going to be able to do with this. So keep me posted. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.